Hello and welcome. Really happy you came. I am Big Cheds. It's Thursday, October 21st, 2021. This is Trading Wisdoms on the wonderful Crypto Banter YouTube channel. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe button. This is episode 7, and we have great guests today. Trading can be complicated, and what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to simplify it for you. People know me through Twitter and other venues as a chart helper, as a newbie helper, and a chart guy. And when I got started out, man, I was making a lot of mistakes. But there were some people who helped me along the way. And through my journey, I started to teach others. And eventually I published this book, Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. The support from the Banter community has been unbelievable. So thank you for that. And the lessons from the book are kind of the foundation of this show. The format of the show is 3-part. For the first part of the show, we're going to talk about the book. This week's lesson is profit taking. After that, I'm going to do some technical analysis. I'm going to walk you through the charts, what to look for. We're going to cover Bitcoin, and hopefully you'll get a sense of what's going on with the market. And then we'll have our guest for the last segment. I've been blessed with the selection of guests, and we have a great guest today in IncomeSharks. It's going to be a lot of fun talking to him. So with that, let's get this started. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsor. We are sponsored by Bingbon, an amazing trading exchange where you can not just trade crypto, you can trade Forex, you can trade commodities, you can trade indices. They have copy trading if that's what you like to do. They have spot trading, custom leverage. I just like how the interface, it's easy to use. I really like just a lot of things about it. And so there'll be a sign-up link for you in the description. There's a bonus going on, a sign-up bonus for the Banter family. I see many of you have signed up, but you actually need to transfer funds in and to start to trade with them to be eligible for that BTC, USD, ETH. So definitely check that out. As I mentioned, I am on Twitter at Big Cheds. I think that's where most of you probably know me from. And if you're interested in the book, I mentioned Trading Wisdom. It's on Amazon. 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. Really great reviews. I'm very thankful and very pleased with how well it's being received in the community. I am also on YouTube at Cheds Trading. Under my playlists, I do have educational live streams where I occasionally will dive deep into the market. And also I have a free version of my book. And I've done 7 lessons so far. I'll do another one in a week or two. So definitely check that out if you're interested. And if you're interested in really serious long-form educational content, check out Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. We're going to start out today with the book, of course, and the lesson for today is going to be profit taking. So, of course, I was 100% ready today. Just kidding. There it is. That's the book. Let's get the book going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the About the Author section up and the introduction section. You can pause it. You can check it out later on your own time. I won't sport your time right now, but we'll go right here to the table of contents. So lesson 9, profit taking. This is a tough one. How do you take profit? When do you take profit? Kind of how to approach it. If you're reading along at home, folks, we're going to go to page 27. So we're going to start out this chapter with one of my favorite quotes. Quote, "When you are so excited about your trade that you take a screenshot to send to your buddy, that is probably when you should sell." Right? I've tweeted that out a few times, and it's resounded. People have said, "Wow, I can totally relate to that." And I know I can, and it's funny. I catch myself doing that. I have a good buddy, Big Chonas. He was on episode 1. We trade a lot together, and when I'm up big and I'm getting there ready to send the screenshot, I say to myself, "Whoa, wait a minute. Maybe this is the top." Because you got to understand, we get enthusiastic. If we're a bull and we're in a nice trade, we get enthusiastic after that big push. And at that point, we're up so much, we're almost surprised, right? We're almost surprised we're up so much. Much love from Pakistan, from Timor. Thanks for watching. Yeah. So we're so excited that we say, "Hey, let me show my friend." You need to be a little bit more conscious of your behavior. And when you're that excited, it's probably near the top. So let us know in the comments, if you've experienced that as well. When you go to send someone a screenshot, it's usually the top, right? In the book, as what I say in the book, I say one of the hardest things to do is learn how to trade and when to take profit. When you're in something that is uptrending, it is tempting to just let your position ride to see if it can turn into a home run. On the other hand, if you do not sell near resistance, the price might drop quickly and then your trade becomes a hold, something you were hoping to avoid. So, first of all, if you're just hodling, if you're investing, or if you're accumulating, that's fine. This isn't about that. This is about trading. And oftentimes, I had someone message me yesterday and say, I'm down this amount, but I was up before, and what should I do now? If you don't take profit, the move will retrace back, and now you're a bag holder. And now you don't want to take a loss. Now you're stuck, you're holding, and now you're averaging down, and you're adding to a loser, which is what you don't want to do. And we've talked about that subject before. As I say in the book, quote, taking profit along the way makes all future decisions easier. So, let's say you have a large position and or even like a small position that becomes a large position and you're not sure what to do. Well, take a little bit of profit. Take 25% of the profit of your initial position out. Now you have less risk, and you'll find that every time you take profit, it makes each future decision easier. Think about that. So, when do you take profit? Usually you want to take some profit when the price is approaching like a key resistance level. So say you're in a well-defined, rectangle where you have a clear lower boundary and a clear upper boundary, and you were lucky enough to buy the bottom of the boundary, support held, it rose through the middle of the channel, and now you're approaching that top of the channel, and you're noticing, you're observing, because that's what you do as a chart technician. You're observing that the price has been rejected at this level, let's call it $100, several times over the last week or two. Well, you want to take a little bit of profit when you get to that level. Maybe it will blast through. If it blasts through, if you want, you can even add to your position at that point or start a new position with the stop loss for that position at that key breakout level. But the point is, if you take some profit there, you're probably not going to mess up what you do next, right? When you have it all riding in one move, you're going to get nervous. You're going to cut it and then wish you didn't cut it. Then you're going to jump back. You're going to jump back in. You're going to kind of whipsaw yourself. So take profit. Every time you take profit, right, it makes every single future decision easier. So you want to kind of drill that into your head. So what I say in the book, I say, remember that it is okay to miss out on that extra 5 or 10% in profit, even 20% of profit, because timing the exact top and bottom is extremely difficult to the point of being impossible. In addition to making your future decisions easier, you are also lessening your exposure to holding a risky asset when you take profit, right? So think about that. A lot of what we hold, I mean, this isn't like we're buying Microsoft or we're buying, like Apple or something that's, it's not going to like wake up and the company's folded and, out of business. With crypto, who knows? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure every one of you knows what the next Bitcoin is. And every one of you knows what the next, 3,000 bagger is. I don't. I stick to the price. I look at price interaction with support and resistance. And, from my own experience, I've held a lot of things overnight or just been surprised when all of a sudden there's a big volatile drop. It's a risky asset, but the benefit of that is you can make a lot of money with a risky asset. So if you have made some money, if you're in the green, take a little bit of profit, do yourself a favor, and that will make your future decisions easier. Let's see here. It is also important not to close out winning trades too early. First, such as at the first sign of, say, a 15-minute reversal or the RSI getting hot. To avoid getting faked out too easily, you need some type of a multi-level confirmation that requires some follow-through on a signal. So think about that. You also don't want to just randomly take profit in the middle of the channel. So if you're in your trade based on a daily move, and then you just have a 15-minute move that spooks you out, you can watch it, but look for a little confirmation on that. Look for confirmation of a key support level breaking on the daily chart. So don't get too faked out on those lower time frame trades if the kind of reason you're in the trade is a longer time frame, a 4-hour, a daily chart, a weekly chart, that type of thing. I end the chapter with a quote, and I say, quote, if you are up big now, maybe take a little off the table. You can never go broke by taking profit. So, it's also a little bit of a controversial subject. To some people, they'll just hold their winners forever and maybe they outperform everyone else. But, for me, I like to manage my risk. I like to manage my emotions. And I like to define my risk at every opportunity. So if I can take some profit, my cost basis goes down. Eventually, I'm free riding. If it's up 100% and you sell half, whatever happens after that, it's basically you're riding. It's free money. I guess some of you call it a moon bag or something, something like that. I'm trying to get with the lingo. So that's some essence of the chapter, lesson 9, profit taking. So thank you for sitting through that. Please do hit like. Please hit subscribe button. I see the comments. A lot of positive feedback, so I'm really happy to see that. Let's jump into the chart today, and just let us know in the comments how you're doing, folks. So what's going on with Bitcoin? So needless to say, all-time high feels great. And how we got here is important as well. And we've done this review. If you're wanting to know how we got here, please check out that playlist on the Crypto Banter page and see the technical analysis sessions, lessons we've done to get here. And we've talked about the weekly chart. We start out with the weekly chart and we talk about how the price accelerated past the 14K break, and it used the green line, which is an exponential moving average, which an exponential versus a simple, right? Exponential gives more price weighting to the most recent candle. Simple moving average, like for example, the orange line here was my 50 moving average. Each of those 50 periods has an equal weighting. So the weekly chart just broke out 14K and it rode that daily to the upper Bollinger to the daily EMA to weekly EMA 8. I apologize. Upper Bollinger to the weekly EMA 8. Then we had a warning sign. April 21st, we closed below that green line. What are we doing now? If you'll notice, we're in this nice acceleration mode on the daily chart. And where are we on the daily chart? How did we get here? We had that key horizontal level that we wanted the price to remain above, the January highs, February lows. We had this 80-day rectangle, the long consolidation. Once you break out of a long consolidation range, you really want to hold that. We essentially did hold it when we came back here in September. And ever since we broke out, started to break out, end of September, you got that diagonal break here, and then you got kind of a key momentum shift right around 44.4K. You had your buy signal and you accelerated. Ever since then, what has the price been doing? It's been bouncing between the upper Bollinger and the EMA 8, upper Bollinger, EMA 8, upper Bollinger, EMA 8. That's the mode we're in. If you go back and you look at Twitter, look at social media, October 12th, people were panicking, but it was just another drop to the daily EMA 8. And we had that today. So today is a little more interesting. There's a little different context, and it's always about context in technical analysis, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So we dropped down to the daily EMA 8, and that's really your buy the dip level until proven otherwise. Going forward until our next video, if we see a close below that green line, you want to pay attention to that. Right? We saw how that played out on the weekly chart. When we had our first close below, it did bounce, set that lower high and then continued down. So that would be a sign of weakness we're watching for. We're not there. We're in this primary strong uptrend, upper Bollinger to EMA 8. All right. We got there along the way. As we were rising, we had to deal with the key level. We had to deal with the lower high, right? The macro lower high. What does that mean, macro? It means the big picture lower high. At 52K level on September 6th, that was the lower high. What does that mean? Here's the high, right? The 64K. You come down, you set a low, you bounce, and then a lower high where the price is rejected. And you'll often see in consolidation after a strong move, you set a high, come down, you set a low, lower high, higher low, and then you reach some kind of pivot and you usually continue. Most of the time you continue. Trends tend to continue. But while you're continuing, or you're attempting to continue, what is your trigger? What is your buy level? Your buy is the break of that prior resistance. Once you set a resistance, you can say, well, if we break up above that resistance again, that's when I'm going to trigger my long signal. So while the daily chart was doing that, bouncing upward to EMA 8, boom, broke through. So you could have gone long there. Little bit of momentum at that point. Once we broke through that level, we were very likely to test the all-time high. And we did that. We tested it and we broke it. So what's resistance? What's a target? Well, everyone has different ways to do targets. Some people use Fibonacci extensions. There's stock to flow predictions, all these other things. On-chain maybe has their predictions. I don't really see any resistance per se. There's no real target for me. Yet we're in essentially price discovery. We're in this new mode where we've just broken out. We're still holding support, and there's no real resistance. I mean, you have intraday or low time frame resistance at 66,999, but there's not a lot of history or volume behind that resistance. So there really isn't much resistance yet. So what we're watching right now is more or less, let's simplify it. We want to hold this new level that we've broken, right? We broke over that resistance. We really want to hold, 62, 63K. If that fails, we have a decent cluster of support here, the 54, to 56, but I'd be a little bit more interested to buy on a dip right around 53K if we get there. I'm not saying we will. But what's interesting is not only looking at Bitcoin, but kind of looking at the rest of the market. I actually anticipated that we would kind of pause and consolidate a little bit here at 66.9, or let's call it 67K, because of some other things I saw in the market. I saw Luna was moving, I saw Sol was moving, and I saw Ethereum Break-Out. All right, what do I mean by that? I saw Ethereum break out, and Ethereum broke out because it broke that lower high. This would be yesterday. So yesterday I noticed that Ethereum was pushing really strongly, broke above that high, broke up above that high. What does that matter? Why does that matter? Some of you look at BTC dominance. I actually don't even look at BTC dominance. I look at what Bitcoin's doing, then I look at what the rest of the market is doing. And altcoins run when Bitcoin pauses and consolidates. All right. Altcoins don't run when Bitcoin is strong and it's rising. Right. So when I saw Luna running, this Bitcoin's at 67K or high 66s. Luna was running, Sol, and I saw Ethereum breaking out. I said, all right, short-term top, at least for a couple days. Right. And when that happened, I immediately thought to myself, all right, daily EMA 8. Right. Daily EMA 8 on Bitcoin. That happened, dropped down, to 62. That's a $4,000 move. Why does that matter? People are going to take profit at the all-time high because they probably expect it to pause and consolidate. And that money often will flow, think about a fountain. It flows from the top and it comes out and then it spreads out further. The water flowing and flows into Ethereum. Ethereum usually goes first and then into other altcoins, the altcoins that have what is called relative strength. And I'm looking forward to talking about this with our boy IncomeSharks here in a minute. The altcoins that have relative strength, the ones that have been strongest during consolidation, those are the ones you want to play. So, let's see what was moving. So like Sol broke out. What is Sol doing? Sol is kind of right there as well. So here's Sol in its tightening range, a high, a low. Now we have our lower high and our higher low. We've actually broken up above that lower high, right around 180. I'd say it's still a constructive, a very good looking chart above 180. That's something you want to be focusing on, like something like Sol. There's other strong ones, even AVAX. I've been watching AVAX for a breakout. It's kind of been teasing me here. Falling wedge, breaking back to the MA50 with this horizontal support here, trying to break out. It's had a couple fake out moves, but it's a strong chart, right? You don't want to play charts that are below their MA200 or below their 50, right? There's several types of trades, but if you want to simplify it, think about either a continuation move, right? And then what's a continuation? A continuation is buying Bitcoin at the EMA 8, buying at a rising support level. That's a continuation play. All right. A reversal is just trying to guess when something's going to reverse. So you're better off sticking with continuation plays. Is my boy ready? IncomeSharks, how you doing, buddy? You ready to go?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Hey, thank you and welcome. Really happy to talk to you, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Definitely. So I've been following you on Twitter. Tell us about where we can find out about you for those who don't know who you are.
Just Twitter. I mean, I do have a YouTube, and I think I have like 3 videos, but I do want to eventually start getting more onto YouTube and start recording more stuff. But yeah, for now, Twitter's just kind of the main place.
Okay. So how did you, how did you get started trading and, what's your trading style?
So, I mean, I've always kind of been kind of an entrepreneur, try to venture and try different avenues, but I did stocks maybe like 6-7 years ago. We're talking like trading with $100, barely doing much. And then I'd heard about Bitcoin and kind of read more into it. And I was like, wow, this is something with a lot of potential. And then I've always kind of been had a background in technology, website development, kind of that. So I kind of delved into the code, and this was way back in, I think, 2016, 2015, kind of just took a gamble, and I had a couple thousand. I was like, I'm just going to try this and see what happens. And then that's just one of those, the rest is history things. And I mean, I've only put in a couple grand when I've started. That's just something I'm very blessed. I got lucky timing that, but it's just one of those things where you do not need a lot of capital to make a lot of capital. And then obviously earlier you get, the easier it is, but that's just kind of how the whole crypto journey started. And then I've just been getting more hooked and enjoying the whole ride ever since.
So what did you put it in? XRP, I assume?
No, this was right when Ethereum came out. So
Okay.
got in there early and then just kind of kept it in Bitcoin. And then
Yeah.
Eventually got into XRP about like 20 cents. And that was a fun ride to $3 until that thing came crashing down. But
absolutely. So you mentioned like the tech part, like, are you interested in the fundamentals and kind of like what the dev teams are doing and how like wrapping tokens and stuff like that? Or are you just,
yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely what got me excited at first. Like, I mean, it was kind of true when like 2017, 2016, people kind of were in it for the tech, because you actually kind of had to believe the tech to trust that Bitcoin was going to take off.
Yeah.
And that's what really kept me like motivated to stay into it. And then as one of those things, once you learn the tech, you're like, well, I got to learn the trading side. And that's where I went really heavy into trading. And then at least for me, I have really enjoyed using the fundamental side. I will do a lot of fundamental plays, but now I'm at the point where I can just look at a chart and you're like, you know what, that looks like there's probably good fundamentals because somebody's buying. And so I really try to bridge that. And especially when I get into like micro caps, it does really help me, because my kind of rule of thumb is if I can create the coin, it's kind of a garbage coin. But if they do things that I can't do, I'm like, okay, there's little tech there. There's some things. And I kind of use that for a judgment and scale of how I trade.
I think that's admirable. I think, I'll admit my blind spot is, fundamentals, but I think, if I could, reach into your brain and pull some of that knowledge out, I'd probably be doing even better understanding, what the right, L2s are, whatever those things are. I just look at price action. So
Yeah.
I think it's great that you have that blended approach, and I think people have to find their own way.
Yeah.
So are you what are your thoughts on we'll talk Bitcoin, we can kind of go into other stuff after that, but what do you think we're doing now? I don't know if you saw my analysis. What's going on with Bitcoin right now in your eyes?
I mean, it's a classic structure. I like that it's not going too crazy. I mean, obviously it's going crazy, but relatively, I like that it's just kind of slowly moving up. That's a lot more sustainable growth. We're seeing even a tiny little correction today. Like, I love those small little corrections that get eaten up.
Yeah.
Now that we're seeing media, like I'm still at my friends that, again, I've been telling my friends for 4 years to get in. Sure enough, last week, it's always like, hey, is now a good time to buy? I want to buy again. I like crypto. So I'm seeing all this retail actually excited again, even though like crypto Twitter, like kind of seems, I mean, obviously everyone's excited, but it's just a different kind of energy. We're seeing this new money that's like, all right, now I'm actually going to get into crypto. So this is a good sign that as long as we kind of stay above the all-time high, we stay around 60s, even a dip under 60 would be bought up very quickly. But I think this is just one of those slower growths that we could see go and push into 80, 90,000, and then maybe that parabolic top off. But I think this is going to be a little bit more sustainable, not as volatile as we've had in the past, because there's a lot bigger money, plays a lot slower. And I think a lot of the leverage is kind of a lot of it's gotten shaken out. We're not seeing as crazy of degen leverage traders. I mean, we're still always going to have them, but that's kind of the shakeout I think we've seen over the years. A lot less leverage trader, bigger money coming into crypto, and then a lot of people that are, I kind of call them the panic sellers, but they're the ones that are kind of now doing the meme coins. They're kind of going their money elsewhere. So we're seeing a little bit more stability, and I'd kind of consider Bitcoin almost kind of be trading like a stock. Obviously a lot more volatile, but it's starting to become a lot more of a stable kind of trading asset.
Yeah, so the market's maturing, right? And it's a different crypto Twitter than the last 64K, right?
Yes.
And last time we were 64K, like all the alts were running too at that point.
Yeah.
Like TRX was going crazy and a bunch of stuff that you usually see kind of towards the end of the cycle. How are you approaching altcoins? Because it's easy. Everyone, you buy Bitcoin, fine. You're gonna be a genius eventually because it will keep going up. But how are you approaching kind of the altcoin trade right now?
So that one's a little tough because, I mean, very similar. Like I'm kind of playing this more like the 2017, 2018 run, where kind of letting Bitcoin go up. But the only difference this time is we have a lot more people confidence that alts aren't going to zero. Like before last time, it was kind of like Bitcoin might be the only thing that takes off. Now we're like, you know what? There's better tech. There's better projects. We actually will see more things prosper. So I'm more playing as Bitcoin goes up, altcoins kind of chill. They're not dropping. They might slowly bleed, but they're not falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
And then I'm waiting for the ones where they kind of consolidate for a while. Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin slows down, then I'm jumping right back into them. And then we're also right now, as you mentioned, we're seeing like Sol breaking out, FTM. We're seeing some strong alts just not caring about price. And I think that's a big like sign that the market is maturing, because the big players are actually moving with Bitcoin, and they're actually a little bit more independent of Bitcoin, which I remember back in 2016, 2017, we were really annoyed that Bitcoin would just ruin everything because people only cared about Bitcoin. But now it's like, I've gone days I don't even look at the Bitcoin chart. I'm like, I'm assuming it's fine. Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm assuming
What's that like? What's that like?
Well, it's taken four years of practice to like not be emotional, not check prices. But I will literally wait until like people message me or I hear about it, because I'm just like, I don't want to know the intraday things. Because if I go on Twitter now, if someone's like, Bitcoin's dumping, and I'm like, oh crap, it's like 40,000. I look, it's at 62,000. I was like, that's not a dump. That's a little bleed correction. So it is very emotional to be on crypto Twitter, but it's also there's good info there too.
So how do you do that? Like on Twitter, like how do you know what's good and what's emotional? How are you like, how do you filter it? And what's maybe some advice for some of these new folks who are trying to get good information from Twitter?
Yeah, so obviously what's helped me from the beginning started is using higher time frame charts. It's very hard to not stare at the 15-minute or the 30-minute, but the lowest I'll go now is 4 hours. And then I'll usually stick to the daily. And I mean, honestly, if you're an investor or a long-term holder, just pull up the weekly chart. It's very simple. I mean, Bitcoin, you look at the weekly, it's only been going up, easy hold. Why are you even like wasting time intertrading that? I do a lot of swing trading, but that's more when I'm ready for a swing trade. I'll pull up the 4 hours, I'll pull up the daily, kind of look for some tops and bottoms, and then I will kind of buy my trade. And it's one of those trades that's going to work or it's not. And so I just walk away from it. And I really focused on risk management, where I'm comfortable walking away from the charts for a few days. Like, I mean, I'm still seeing them every day. Like, I'm not just walking away, not looking at the charts, but it's not something I'm like updating and looking. And like, even before this podcast, like, I better go look at Bitcoin, see what it's doing. But it's just one of the things you kind of get this confidence where you're like, I know it's moving up. I'm expecting it to move up, unless there's something crazy and I'll see it all over my Twitter feed. Like, why do I need to see what I'm kind of predicting is happening? So it's obviously easier said than done, but that's really helped me stay more confident in my trades.
I think you're not over interacting with the market. It sounds like you have a nice balance.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where, like if you have 20 trades, you'll probably do worse than if you have 2 trades. And you found the right amount of information. And I think it's for some people, like, they don't know to find that balance. It will take time and experience, obviously. For the new folks, like, what are some mistakes though you're still making, if you don't mind, just to share with us a little bit?
I mean, at this point, a lot of my mistakes are still just not trusting what I think is going to happen. Like, I mean, I was very good. I did buy heavy at the 30K dip, and then like even the 40K dip, but it's one of those things. I had leveraged longs for 40K, and they were pretty, again, risk management, but they were 100x longs. And I was like, this is going to go to all time highs. And I knew that. And the trades are up 1,000%. I'm like, I'm going to be smart and then take profit. Obviously not the smartest, but it's just one of those things. It's like, I hear a lot of people like, oh, if I would have done this and I knew it was going to happen, kind of thing. And it's really hard because you want to play those things out, but also you don't want to be the idiot that's like, wow, I didn't take any profit. So for me, I'd still struggle with, is this a trade that I need to hold and be disciplined, or do I need to be disciplined and close the trade? And I still think over time, like, it's always good to still take profits and assume your trade is not going to play out.
Good.
But then really try to trust that, hey, if you get a good entry, you just have to let it ride. You have to walk away from the charts and just trust that what you did is going to be way better than everyone else that's trading.
I love it. I love it. Are you into the NFT thing? You out there minting and stuff like that,
I know a lot of people think I'm anti NFTs. I've gotten into NFTs. I've been in them for a while, but it's just one of those things, like, it doesn't quite fit my trading style, because you either have to be in really early, you got to get private sales, you got to talk to the people before it goes out, and then you either have to really shill your NFT, or it's just kind of a little bit different market. And like, obviously the people I got into, the blue chip ones, the Yacht Club, the Crypto Punks, those are incredible trades. But it's just like with any trade, there's always going to be a few people that make a ton of money, and then everyone else trying to chase that same high. And I mean, I've traded so many projects now, but at this point, I don't even think I've sold more than a couple more than what I've bought. And it's just kind of more been fun. And I enjoy the NFT community and stuff, and all that's great, but I'm not treating that as like, oh, here's my get rich quick kind of style trading. And it's just kind of like that.
I like it. I think it's a very balanced way to look at it. And I think if you're going to do it, you have to really be, you know, mentally all in it. You have to be
Yeah.
researching and really understand it because it's changing so fast. And you know, maybe dabbling is not so good unless it's money you can afford to just, you know, sit on and not
Yeah.
need.
And I mean, it kind of worries me when I hear people like, "Oh, my whole portfolio is in NFTs." It's
Right.
like that's scary. Like
That's
you're
scary. Yeah.
not.
But maybe
It's
they're smarter than us. Who knows?
I,
Maybe
I
they'll,
mean, yeah, I mean, of
who
course, there's
knows, right?
enough people that have done all in NFTs and made millions. So everyone's like, well, I'm going to do that. But you
Yep.
just have to realize the game is like 1% of the 1% are going to succeed. And unless you have some crazy advantage or you got in early, you're not going to be that 1%. And you're chasing this high that's just going to deplete your whole portfolio.
I love it. I love the balance. If you want to just remind everybody where we can find you on Twitter, it's been great having you here, man.
Yeah, just twitter.com/IncomeSharks.
Awesome. And yeah, great. Glad we could finally connect.
Yeah.
Definitely follow your work. If you haven't seen what he does, definitely check him out on Twitter. A lot of nice, clean content. So definitely Ched's approved, man.
I still remember following you when you were like, I think like 20, 30,000. I had like 1,000 followers. So
Yep.
kind
Now
of cool to
you've
finally.
eclipsed me, sir.
So I've learned a lot from you. So I mean, that's just one of those things. It's crypto's a weird space. So you're one of the few accounts I do like post chart content analysis, no memes, no what you're eating for dinner. I mean, it's just one of those things where if people are watching, like Cheds is definitely someone that I grew up like listening to. So I would definitely recommend still following them.
Appreciate that. I didn't have to pay you to say that. So
No,
just
yeah. And I don't do paid stuff. So that's all organic. You didn't tell me to say it.
awesome. Hopefully we will have you back soon. And
Yeah, absolutely.
appreciate you coming on, bro.
Yeah, you bet.
All
Have a
right.
good
Take
one.
care. So that was a great guest. I love doing this. We have some really awesome guests. That was just another one. I'm going to wrap things up by reminding you about our wonderful sponsor, Bingbon, one of the best trading exchanges out there. Crypto, Forex, commodities, indices. They're adding new stuff all the time, all the standard stuff as well. Of course, copy trading, custom leverage. We do have a sign-up bonus for Banter members and a deposit bonus, but you need to transfer in funds and actually trade. I saw a bunch of you who have signed up but haven't actually taken that step. So if you want to take advantage of that, please do that. Check out Bingbon if you're looking for an exchange. If you want to check me out, find out more about me, I am on Twitter at Big Cheds. I published this book, Trading Wisdom, 50 lessons every trader should know. It's basically the genesis, the origin of this show. The reviews have been great. Banter family, you've supported me. Thank you so much. Check out that on Amazon. I have a free version of the book on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Cheds Trading under the playlist Trading Wisdom. Check that out. If you like my technical analysis, long form technical analysis, check out Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst, the best in class educational platform for crypto. I'm very proud of my involvement with that. I'm also very proud to be here today and to be part of the Banter family. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe. We'll keep bringing that awesome content to you. Until next time, Big Cheds out.